Look, I know it's the Giants' unofficial theme song, but the Rangers have been balling. They picked up their 6th win in a row Wednesday night with a 6-4 win over the Canucks. So Jake Brown is a host on the New York Post Up in the Blue Seats podcast. We got him up on the Zoom right now to talk about the Red Hot Rangers. Jake, 6 in a row, 18 goals in their last 3 games. This looks like a completely different team from earlier in the season. How did the Rangers get so hot after the break?
Well, I thought you were going to start with a Coming to American line saying, what is that, velvet? It is velvet on the blazer, but it really started December 5th, and I was there against the Blues. It was a Monday, the 3rd period, they went off, and it was a day where Gerard Gallant was basically on the hot seat. Like, people were talking about him getting fired, and since then, they've been the best team in the NHL, 21-4-3 since December 5th. It's better than the Bruins, who are going to break all sorts of records this year. But since the break, it's really been their bread. I hate to be punny here. Their bread and butter. It's been the bread man. 6 goals in his last 2. He's on a 5-game point streak, 12 points in his last 5 games. Unfortunately, Mika Zibanejad is not nicknamed Butter, or that phrase would work a lot better. He's been fantastic as well. His career high is 41 goals. He's at 29. He's got a good shot to beat it. If he could get 13 in the final 28 games. He had the career high in assists last year. They didn't need goals as much because of Chris Kreider, but Mika is hot, man. He's got goals in every game since the All-Star break, 7 in 5 games, 9 points overall. So really, it's been the bread and butter. It's been the 2 big boys. Kreider's done his thing as well, but it's really been Mika and Panarin. But, getting Tarasenko helped too. That's kind of the electricity, the jolt that said, hey, you guys think we're this good? Well, let's do this thing, because we just got one of the best players in the league. So I think that trade kind of put them over the edge and got the troops rallied to go on a little run here.
31 goals for, 17 goals against during that win streak as well. I mean, like you said, the team is completely night and day. Chris Kreider, let's move on and talk about him. He scored his 22nd goal of the season and his 251st of his Rangers career, passing Mark Messier for 7th most goals in franchise history. You're Coming to America reference. That boy good. He's climbing the ladder. Where does Kreider's legacy stack up with other Ranger greats?
He's getting up there. I think the cup is really big for him, because when you think of Rangers legends and Rangers greats, you really start with the guys that won the cup in '94. You start thinking of Messier, you think of Graves, you think of Richter, you think of those guys that won, because, it was 60 years. I mean, they hadn't won in so long. So, Raj Gilbert is obviously the top guy, Mr. Ranger, all-time goal scorer. I mean, he's the top guy. But if Kreider can win a cup here, he starts, in my opinion, to get closer and closer to that Mount Rushmore of Rangers. His numbers don't jump out at you when you look at them, besides last season where he scored 52. He was always in the 20 to 28 range every year. But a lot of those other guys had left and went elsewhere. And to me, I think it is important that he stayed. Like Gilbert was Mr. Ranger. Other guys left. Vic Hadfield, he played elsewhere. Andy Bathgate played elsewhere. Jean Vertel played elsewhere. Camille Henry played elsewhere. So, Messi played elsewhere, but he won the prestigious cup. So I think if Kreider can win a cup, he could play, maybe 4 or 5 more seasons here in New York, win a cup, score another 20 to 30 every year. I think he's right there in that Mount Rushmore, because even now, but really in 20 years, people aren't going to really know. It's unfortunate, but they're not going to know about Hadfield, Bathgate, Rattel. They don't know about those guys. So they're going to relate more to Chris Kreider, who won recently and had a 52-goal year. So I think he's getting closer. He's not in the Mount Rushmore yet, but, he's approaching that area.
Yeah, that 52-goal year made him the 4th Ranger to hit 50 goals in the season. A championship in New York makes you a legend. Make sure you guys check out the Up in the Blue Seats podcast for the New York Post. Jake Brown, thanks for joining us, my man.
I'm still waiting for my first ring. Haven't got it yet. Thanks for having me.